Hi Gemini, welcome to your July reading. So your season is over. I made some notes about what comes next, and then I have this new setup where you can see the cards perfectly from overhead. So I figured that we could talk about the astrology, and then you can watch me shuffle and you can watch the cards come up. That's what happens in the personal readings as well, so I like that format. So let's talk about July. This first sentence may take a while. People who only knew you by your wound. So you may find, maybe because it's Cancer season, maybe because it's the height of summer and there is a certain nostalgia that comes with summer, you may find that there are people coming back to you who only know you by some wound that was so deeply expressed in you that it was basically your defining characteristic. Now, in the interim of however long it's been since you've seen them, you're no longer like this. But when someone comes around who identifies so strongly with who you used to be, and who you used to be was just this walking expression of a trauma or a pain, it can be two things. It can either be really annoying, as I adjust my collar, it can either be really annoying, or you can use it as a learning experience to see how far you've come. Because whomever it is that they're identifying with, it's not you. But maybe you can remember a time when it was you, and maybe it's a way to give yourself like a really nice pat on the back. You know, you have come really far. But how do you deal with people who knew you that way? Or it may feel like they're still trying to trigger you to go back to being that way. And that often happens when we go through a period of growth. We are immediately tested by whatever it is that we think that we are over. So this doesn't just apply in our astrology to people in July. It also applies to things that we may have in the past allocated as things that we necessarily don't know how to handle or manage on our own. We all have different hang-ups about different things that we think that we just can't do. Some of us may have parents who told us, oh, you'll never be able to do this, or you'll never be able to handle this, or you should be so happy I handle this for you because you could really never do this. And so you're still walking around feeling like you can't manage that. Okay, well, welcome to the whirlwind that can be Saturn retrograde. And then later on July 28th, Jupiter retrograde. So all those things that you think you can't handle or you can't manage, you are put in the uncomfortable position where you have to. And if you don't know that it's going to happen, it can feel catastrophic, but it's not at all. It's actually quite wonderful, because it will build your self-esteem. You're like, actually, I can handle this just fine. And it will rid you of this limiting belief that you carry. So one, you'll feel more capable, and two, you'll be free of something that leaves you now able to explore all kinds of things that you couldn't even think of before, because you couldn't even, do your taxes on your own, whatever it is for you personally. So your biggest fears, your triggers, things you thought you could not manage, they come up and they are confronting, and they can. So these things can seem really scary, but what I have written here is, if you look deeper into that doubt, into those insecurities, into those perceived inadequacies, they really are the thing that's keeping you from having true confidence. Because think about it. If you can be shaken when things go wrong, is that real confidence? It's not. Confidence is knowing that regardless of what is going on, you can find a way to deal with it. But if you have these areas of your life that are kind of off limits because somebody has told you that they are off limits, then it can be very how do I say it? You still have confidence, but you tread lightly because you know that there are areas of the park that are not open to you. And so you are going through in July a time of owning yourself and gaining even more agency and taking away those barriers and those limitations. So you do get to have full access of your experience, and also to know within yourself after a very tumultuous season of our own that we're okay and that we are capable of taking the things that we learned in our season and in some way not just making ourselves better with them, but bolstering something that has been weak for a while. Maybe just getting back up to nutrient level. Does that make sense? Okay, let's continue. So the next thing here is all of this work when it comes to confidence and facing these things that you didn't think that you could face or that you were told you couldn't face. Doing that work and being a little bit tough with yourself, you know, when something comes up and you want to avoid it, you confront it and you deal with it. One, you're going to learn that things aren't as hard and as bad as you think they are. But two, you're doing it and getting in front of it before Saturn does it, and Saturn's going to do it in a way that is not pleasant. So not just not pleasant, just tough. And we don't want to do that, and we don't need to do that. Everyone is texting me about the Danessa Myricks makeup. I have it on right now. This is not an ad at all. My friend went out with me the other night, and she was like, how does your skin look like that? And I was like, yeah, it's just foundation. And she was like, no, that's not possible. And I was like, yeah, it's totally possible. It's this new stuff I just found out online. And she freaked out, and now but it's like 4 or 5 different girls who are like sending me the same kind of text. It's very nice. It's very nice when you find something. I think it's in the gospel that if you know something or if you have some information that can help someone and you don't tell them, you know, a sin of omission, but still considered a very big sin. So I guess that even applies to makeup. Anyway, July 28th, Jupiter retrograde. You might want to note that. It's a big one. Something important, something you have to be brave for, something you have to be strong for, something important about relationships is put right in your face. Either the role you've unconsciously been playing in your relationships for years, or maybe you had someone else built up as something in your mind and you realize, you know, there's some fall from grace, or something really important, something very revelatory, and something that you need so you can move forward properly with your life. Let's leave it there. We'll get into like your business, because I have a lot to say to you in your extended. But we don't need to do that in front of everybody. You know, we'll do that at the dinner table, family only, which is really what the extendeds have become, I'm realizing. So, something important is revealed to you about relationships, about your role in them or somebody else's role. Maybe somebody who's been taking up a lot of space is what it feels like for me. Someone who's been taking up a lot of space, and now you can, because of this information, you know, because everything that happens with Jupiter is about expansion, right? So we can take for granted that it has something to do with unlocking us or helping us move forward. So whatever it is, for me, it feels like it's a doing away of an illusion. So this is about disillusionment. Maybe it's this like kind of Joycean love that I have, but I love this theme of disillusionment. I love when we live under some thought that colors the world for us, and then we are, jarred out of that somehow, or that color is taken away, and then everything looks different. And it is that kind of moment. It's something big, as Jupiter stuff usually is, but it's something that unlocks you. It sets you free. Either because you finally understand your role in relationships and there's a deepening of your self-awareness on a magnificent level, or because someone else's truth is revealed. And it doesn't have to be something nasty. It doesn't have to, this is not like a third party situation, none of this kind of bullshit. I hate that type of stuff. You want to do that, like, I don't know what you should do. You should talk to your partner. No, I mean like something like maybe you have someone built up in your head for years that you're not even with, or maybe you have it in your head that your best relationship was a long time ago and you're never going to be happy again. It's something that has to do with somebody else and how you view them, and it kind of comes crashing down. And it's so good. And it's so great. And you need to welcome it. And even when it's happening, even if it hurts, remember what I'm saying right now. It's okay that it hurts. It's still great, and it's still necessary, and it's going to do so much good for you. So just don't worry about that. Don't worry about the pain. Just feel it. Just feel it. Just lean into it and let yourself feel it and be in that moment and be as completely hurt as you can, and then pick yourself up and, let's go. We have things to do. Leo season is coming. Okay. Don't get me started. I'm already in Leo season in my head. I have a Vedic Leo moon. I'm already there. Okay. So, the next thing I have written here just seems so scandalous to me, and it's so funny that even when I was writing it, I was like laughing, but like, no, I'm being serious. Listen to me. Do not needlessly flirt. It can be dangerous. Okay. Cancer season for me is one of those times where everything seems totally normal until it's not. And then when it's not normal, it's really, really extremely bad. It can turn left, Cancer season, just like the waves. Just like the waves can turn on you, and 1 minute you're like, I'm having fun. The next minute you're getting, dragged out by the undertow. We go into this a lot on 2 of the recent Cancer season Za walks that we did that are on Patreon, about how Cancer season kind of treats you. And as Gemini, we have to remember that, okay? So the easiest way I can put this for you is up until our season, so Aries season, Taurus season, and our season, it's basically playtime. When you get to Cancer season, if we're the teenagers of the zodiac, they're the young adults. They're troubled, they're disillusioned, they're violent. They're emotional, they commit crimes of passion. Everyone is emotional, everyone is a bit criminal. So our flirty, go light nature, it can get you in trouble a little bit in this season. Save it up for Leo season. It's okay for you to cocoon right now. And I'll tell you something else. Anyone who doesn't want you to cocoon right now, they're not your friends. They should know that after your season, you need to recover. They should know that you're recuperating. Sure, it's fun to ask you out and ask you to go here and there. And if you go to something here and there, that's great. But anyone who's pulling on your energy, anyone who wants a lot from you right now, anyone who wants you to handle something big in their life or is dumping a bunch of stuff on you right now, you really need to rethink that relationship, because that's a sign right there. That's a flag. But if you're not saying anything to them and allowing them to do it, this is where you need to stop. This is where you need to speak up and say, hey, I need a little space. I need a little time. You can put it in whatever words you want. You're good with words. You'll figure it out. But you need to put a little bit of a stop to that because that's a lot. Okay, on July 5th, let's go back. We already talked about Jupiter retrograde, July 28th. Let's go back, July 5th. Aside from CERN turning the Hadron Collider back on, I know this is the second, I think, Gemini reading where we're talking about this. July 5th, same day. Mars also moves into Taurus. Don't tell me they don't know what's going on astrologically. Mars moves into Taurus, but in the Vedic calendar, which is where the planets actually are, Mars moves into Aries when they turn the Hadron Collider out. Now think about that. Thank you. What I have written here is don't ignore your health. You're going through a health revolution by the end of the month. So I can tell you my own story. I don't know what happened to me. It doesn't matter anymore if I like eating something, if my body doesn't like excreting it. If my skin doesn't like it, if my kidneys don't like it, if my digestive tract doesn't like it, the taste no longer matters. In fact, the taste is starting to be a bit rancid to me. And I have found that the only thing that I can stomach that also is excreted well, I'm sorry I keep using that word, I know it's gross, is fruit. Fruit, without being too dramatic, has changed my life. So I'm a little bit, ahead of things, usually. A lot of Aries placements. So I can see how we will all start to go through this now. And by the end of the month, you really may be eating different than you ever thought you would. And it's not something anyone forces you into. It's not something that you do for your health even. It's just something that's changing in you. So just accept it. Go with it. Don't be afraid. Everything is okay. You're evolving. And like I said about people giving you space, it's the same thing about food. Don't let anyone take advantage of you. Another thing we talked about in the recent Saw Walk. Don't let anyone take advantage of you, especially not yourself. And I'm going to do a podcast about this as well. I did one already called The Art of Pushing Yourself Away. It's kind of a preliminary to this. But the next one will really be about rounding out this topic of not taking advantage of yourself. And a big part of that is allowing yourself in Cancer season to just rest and be and not do so much and breathe and get into as much of a Zen mindset as you can, because there are challenges to face and there are deep fears that are being triggered, and you being imbalanced or hyper emotional or confused is not going to help anyone. It's going to make things unpleasant. But things can be very, very pleasant if we stay calm, we meditate, we hydrate, we organize, and we tackle things one-on-one, knowing that we just need to take care of what's in front of us. And if we can't, because that would be taking advantage of ourselves, if we need to rest, if we need to relax, if we need to eat, if we need to go outside, then we do that first. And if you can keep yourself in that mindset for the better part of July, and the way that you deal with them is superb, I think that you'll be really impressed with who you are and who you're becoming and how strong you are and how good it'll feel to do things that perhaps people told you you couldn't do. There's a really big theme this month of people saying they would be there for you and then really not being there for you, and you having to tackle things that perhaps you were using them as a crutch for. So there is a huge sense of accomplishment at the end of the month, and a real boost in your self-esteem, a little steel in your spine, a little, a little pep. But until we get there, until you go through all these things, the name of the game is breathe, meditate, hydrate, stay zen. You know, if you don't know what that is, start listening to Alan Watts lectures right away. I'll post my favorite below. Now let's do the cards. Love you. Hi Gemini, welcome to the second part of your reading. All right, this is the new setup. So, people who only knew you by your wound. So the title of the video being The People Who Knew You Then. All right, let's begin. 9 of Cups and 5 of Swords. Interesting beginning here. We're going to grab this Leo season card here. And here we go. So as you can see clearly, that 5 of Swords is about what we talked about in part 1 about Jupiter retrograde and it revealing something very important to you. Something about relationships. Something about relationships that you may have characterized very differently for a long time. Now this truth, this revealing can be internal or external, meaning it can come through other people, or it can be something you just happen upon on your own. But it's not a realization, it's some information or other. Something is being revealed to you, some information that you didn't have before, something that was kept from you, taken from you. And it's an interesting way to begin what will be a time of great prosperity and even great love. I think that this cascade of betrayals that you have experienced recently, it's all been a prep. It's all to go down a checklist of the kind of people you can't be around because your success will not agree with them. The kind of situations you can never put yourself in again because you have to be smarter than that now. And the kind of relationships you actually want to cultivate instead of just being like that all-encompassing blob socially that we are most of the time, and we just let everyone in. Well, we don't let anyone in at all, but you know what I mean. So, Strength and the Ace of Cups. July 5th, Mars moves into Taurus, and it's important for you to really pay attention to your health and really tone things down. But when Mars moves into Taurus, there are going to be some interesting aspects happening, especially amongst the fixed signs. For you, what's really important here is that you, how do I put this without sounding too dramatic? You've been waiting for this kind of Leo season for a really long time. You've been waiting for people to be this open about their feelings for a long time. You've been patient. You haven't chased anyone, and you haven't really put yourself out there for a while, even probably surprising yourself. And you might be getting to the point finally where you're like, is anyone going to reach out to me? Does this only work when I reach out to people? And what you realize in July, late July, is that you've passed some threshold that you needed to, which would indicate to the people around you that you are no longer in the business of being taken advantage of. And if they want to deal with you in any capacity, they have to come at you straight. And for a lot of people, that means that they really should be the ones reaching out to you. You shouldn't be doing any of the legwork in some relationships that are coming back around right now, you've done all the legwork you should ever have to do again. So this Leo card and the Ace of Cups is, well, it's a great confirmation. It's a confirmation of your patience paying off, your high self-esteem, not degrading yourself, not cheapening yourself in any way or chasing anyone, or you've been very protective of yourself and it's paid off. You've worked deeply with this Nine of Cups card here. Nine of Cups, the traditional meaning being that those cups have been back there so long that you may not know which one of them is full and which one of them is empty. You're just kind of fiercely defending them nonetheless. In a lot of ways, the Nine of Cups is very much Gemini energy. Everything's fine, don't worry about it, we got it. But the Five of Swords says Jupiter goes retrograde and everything is not fine. And here's one of the biggest reasons why it's not fine. But do we dwell on it? No. We get zen, we breathe, we take it easy, and we get back on our feet. Now, when we get back on our feet, it's really, really important to not flirt for no reason. Why? Remember I said that in the general? The reason you're not flirting just to flirt is because at the end of July, something pretty special would like your attention. It doesn't have to lead to anything if you don't want it to, but it will at the very least be a sincere effort, and one that is made so in a way that you appreciate, something that makes you curious, something sophisticated enough to suit your palate, something strong enough to keep your attention. Oh God. Something beautiful enough to be worthy of you. Just be careful. Because if you flirt with someone who's already got a huge crush on you or already in love with you, you can do a lot of damage. A lot of damage. There we go. Sorry, I should be moving this whole apparatus, I've realized. I'm just getting used to this thing, I apologize. There we go. Sorry about that. Be careful, because if they've already had a thing for you, or you used to have a thing before, or anything like that, ooh, the possibility of that tower being back in your life is very, very probable. So you want to be careful. And you also don't want to involve yourself in anything where you're not the only people involved. You know what I mean? When you get involved with people you used to be involved with, there's so many messy things that can happen that way. And especially if that person has a thing for you, but maybe they're in something right now and they're not going to care if they have a thing for you. It can get very messy very fast, is what I'm trying to say. And yeah. Either this is an externalization and these are people coming back into your life, or people showing up with this energy that's really challenging, how you see yourself in society now, how you see yourself in relation to other people, how you see yourself in relation to romance. Where are you at in terms of personal power? Are you feeling really strong? Are you feeling confident? High self-esteem. This is like a mark of Gemini in summer. We're, feeling really, really strong and really good about ourselves, to the point where we're even being contemplative. We're looking deeply into ourselves, and perhaps, again, working with that Jupiter retrograde energy, wanting to see those wands behind us, wanting to turn around, having the impetus to go, hey, turn around, look behind you, what's back there, right? Now the tower moment, like I always say, is an avoidable thing. The Tower moment is avoidable if you know it's coming, right? So if you turn around and you see these swords and these wands, and some of them are a bit intimidating to you, and some of them you really, really had no idea would be a part of your fate. Yes, that can be jarring. Yes, it can push you into wanting to do stupid, reckless things, but you shouldn't. You really, really shouldn't. Because what's coming for you because of these revelations is a ticket out. You get to get out. You get to have a life outside of all the things you've put in your head and you've sworn are the reasons why you're not allowed out. You know, I was just saying in the Cancer video, there are so many different things that Cancerians put in their head, stories they tell themselves, I'm not allowed to have this, or, you know, one time something didn't work out and it's like that becomes the story. I don't get that thing. I don't win at these things. I never win at things, or it's like it can get very extreme, very, very fast, and it's damaging, right? There's some story you get to walk out of. That's what Jupiter retrograde brings you. As of the 28th, at the end of the month, you really start to feel this loosening of some grip, of some belief or some understanding that you had, either of yourself or of another person that's really important, or the relationship between the two of you, right? And the cascade of realizations that follows internally and externally can be a lot. Yes, there can be tower moments, but they're leading you with every revelation, with every next, insight. They're leading you into a vast and much cleaner and much more stable world. And if you look at your life, you will notice that over the years, perhaps it has gotten a little bit less exciting, but it's definitely gotten more nourishing and more productive. The excitement, I'm glad to tell you, whether tower moment be damned, the excitement is on its way back. The excitement is not gone forever. It's not like now we're these stodgy, serious beings. We've just matured, but that doesn't mean that we're any less fun or we're any less wild. We just have different priorities. Things have happened. Perhaps something happened recently that really, turned your world upside down and just had you thinking a little bit reckless. Like, man, does it all even matter? Why am I even doing all this? So it's understandable, but the important thing here is to know that your wins are, they're coming in very, very quick. And although you've had some setbacks and some realizations have to be made, it's just, and on top of that, you got this big heart. It's fast moving and it's smooth sailing and it's all the things and it's all the, it really just the wins. These are all the extended cards that we're going to look into in a moment, especially starting with this Chariot and what's going on in terms of work and career. But this is, we have crawled out of the hole. And if you've had your chart read, I'm sure somebody told you, like, by August, you'll be feeling great. Just hold out till August. They've probably been telling you since January. Just hold out till August, and I think they're right. Say your last goodbyes to whoever it was that you used to be so long ago that was so very hurt. You're not going to have access to that person anymore for a long time. Maybe never. This shift that we've been going through for, 6 months, it feels like it's finally complete now. That's the traditional card of the Gemini. That's Mercury energy. That's your life path. That's the extended. We'll talk about the life path. I love you, love you. All the links are below. We're having a meetup in LA. It's sold out, but I'm also going to do some personal readings when I'm there. So I'll put the information below for who you should contact on Instagram to book one if you would like that. We're also having an event in Denver, a meet and greet and a question and answer. That will be on July 9th, and the links for that are below as well. There's also a meetup in New York City on August 14th, sorry. And the link for that is below as well. The extended version of this and these early readings are available on Patreon, and the extended is also available on Vimeo. If you are interested in a live reading, like not face-to-face, but like FaceTime video chat one-on-one readings, we do them on Fridays, and the next one is on July 11th, and that link to reserve, there's only 10 spots, so that link will be below as well. I think I got all of it. Do you like the new setup? I love the new setup. So clean. Love you. I'll see you in the extended right now.